podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
It's Only a Game podcast with hosts Jimmy, Greg, Deg and Matt. Sat in the main stand, bringing football topics with occasional guests. Download, subscribe and stream for a hat-trick of support. Tap in ratings and reviews on your podcast platform. Stay on side with our YouTube channel and social media pages.
Hello and welcome to this mini episode of It's Only a Game. So I'm going to touch on the Rochdale AFC season, which has just finished a couple of weeks ago. Rochdale finishing 11th in the conference. Highest win total in 7 seasons with 16 wins. 3 players with 10 plus goals, which is Mitchell, Henderson and Sinclair. The lowest number of defeats in 7 years as well. Most goals in 7 years. This is quite a theme here, if you will, in terms of highest wins and, different things like that within the last 7 years. 13 different goal scorers, which is quite good. You can't argue with that. But also, if you were to obviously you can put all the stats together, can't you, really, in terms of what's been good about the season and what hasn't. But in the grand scheme of things, unfortunately, it's the lowest finish we've ever had in the history of Rochdale AFC. So I think a lot of Rochdale fans were sort of not really buying into some of the stats. That yes, in some respects, it's quite good that we're winning games and things like that. We finished 11th, which isn't drastically poor or anything like that. But at the same time, we are in the conference with teams that aren't great calibre, like we're not in there with your Boltons or your Derbys or anything like that, or any ilk of that EFL standard, really. I know Chesterfield obviously won the league. They were worthy winners, in my opinion. And then you've got the playoffs, which myself, Jimmy, Dec and Matt covered a couple of weeks ago, in terms of there will be a historical non-league side going into the EFL, which is good. It's good for the game, really. That's fine. But yeah, I do think we could have. I was re-listening to one of our old episodes of me and Jimmy. I think it was pre-season, for the season that's still going, if you will. And I think I had Rochdale in 10th place, and we finished 11th. So despite all the smoke and mirrors of what's going on in the background, what's not going on, I still expected us to be definitely, top 10, roughly speaking, in those positions, because I don't think the quality of the conference is as good as previous years. I think that's evident. There's no Wrexham and there's no Notts County. That's those days are over in respect to those teams have been promoted. So I thought it would have been okay, of a season, really. I don't think it was too much to ask for in terms of, getting a few wins more than usual, just because of the calibre of the division. I mean, that's not disrespectful. That's just there's a lot of teams in here that aren't really professional. That's just the professional standard, I should say, in terms of the non-league, which is just factual information, really. That's not me having a go at these teams. So I did sort of think that we were more than capable of beating teams and possibly going on a run. I think we could have done better, even though we did finish 11th, which is fine. That's an okay finish. I do think we could have done better. First half of the season, Jim did well. I think Jim McNulty did quite well. I think we had a thin squad in regards to injuries, and one way or another, we were in the top half. One way or another, we were, getting through difficult situations and getting results, maybe the draw here and there, but you would take that possibly in terms of the scenarios that we were in of injuries or players and different things like that. That was the first half. But the second half, it was a very Jekyll and Hyde Rochdale, in my opinion. Some games we really should have put teams away. Yes, we went on a decent run at one point. We had, been able to string a few wins together. But I just think some of the substitutions possibly could have brought Henderson on for more games at the end of the past 6 games, or maybe more than 6 games that we played. I'd have been tempted to put Henderson on, give him half an hour, because really there is no better player to bring on for Rochdale in that division. A proven goal scorer. Yes, he hasn't got the legs like he used to. But we've seen like the Southend away game. He made the assist for the goal, I'm sure, or one of them at least. He still has something to provide on the pitch, given the opportunity to play. I think it's possible that he could have made an assist or a goal in the last 7 or 8 games if you gave him more minutes. We know what Henderson brings. We know what he brings to the table. He's one of the most, if not the best, goal scorer at Rochdale's ever had. So to have that on the bench, not really make the most of that, was not too sure what that is, but it's a mistake really to not put him on for longer. I understand he's nearly 40-year-old, but you've got to play your best players really. I know the odd time I think we only gave him like 5 minutes, and I thought, what can he achieve in 5 minutes? I know he is a good player, but what can you realistically achieve in 5 minutes? Not too sure. So yeah, I'd have put Henderson on more from the bench. There's just little tweaks, that we could have done. I think we could have done better in the last 8 block, the block of games leading to the end of the season. In the same regard, as Jim has changed the culture of Rochdale AFC, because last season it was completely toxic. There was no two ways about that. The players didn't want to be running around, didn't want to be playing for us. I'm not going to name names, but it was evident, that players didn't want to be there for different managers. So he has managed to put things right in some respect. That the squad, they all want to be playing for Rochdale, I would assume. It seems that way in terms of the application and the endeavour of, running around on the pitch and trying a bit more than the season just gone, where we were in the EFL and got relegated. You can see it, it's evident. So, you have to credit McNulty for that, because I don't think there's that many managers that could have done that, really. I know people wanted Hilly back. Not too sure if he would have got the culture back in terms of getting the fans on his side so quickly. Yes, he's a fan favourite, we know Hilly. But I think a lot of credit has to go to Jim on that respect of turning it round so quickly. It could have got ugly. It could have really got ugly in terms of, we know we didn't start particularly amazing the first few weeks of the season, but all in all, I think, yeah, he does deserve credit for, turning the team around and the players and the application of the players. And he's definitely got the fans on his side. I think there's a few, obviously, that aren't too happy that there's a lot of passing back to the goalkeeper and the ball is still in our half. That's going to happen, I guess, in terms of you're going to get some criticisms, and last 18 months, Jim wasn't even a manager. I don't know. There's that to sort of contend with. He's still sort of learning the ropes himself. But he's definitely, when you watch the fans forum on YouTube, the fans are definitely on Jim's side. You can see that because he cares for the club, basically. He cares for the fans, cares for everything about the overall image of the club and the fans. So I know that's the bare minimum, but in some respects, managers before probably didn't have that ethos and they didn't have the approach. So I know it's you should always care about the fans and the club and the direction of the club, bare minimum. But we haven't had it with some managers before, so I think Jim, yes, deserves that credit. Just going forward into next season, if you will. The takeover is, if you want to call it a takeover, I don't know what the terminology could be for that, because I don't think the Sir Peter Ogden will be sort of front facing in terms of he might just be cracking on with everything in the background. I read somewhere that he said it's not going to be a silver bullet in terms of, we won't have millions to spend, and it will try and just keep us ticking really and surviving, and hopefully, look at getting us back in the EFL is what we all want really. The Rochdale fans, we all want to be back in the EFL. We want to be in the FA Cup, and the Carling Cup. I call it the Carling Cup. We want to be in these competitions and playing different teams, and the revenue is important. So I think Sir Peter Ogden's post, or whatever you want to call it, the article that came out, I think that's true really, and I think it's the right approach, because we've seen at different clubs, there's a hidden, backer and we don't know who it is. It could have happened to us, and we think, well, he's from the area, this lad originally, and he has an online presence. People know who he is. He doesn't seem, which he isn't, a dodgy character like some clubs have had that have took over or pumped money into them. So I think there's an element of truth coming through with this fella, Peter. And it sounds good to me so far. I mean, the proof will be in the pudding next season, or realistically, or the season after. Depends how quickly we can get cracking with different aspects of going forward back into the EFL, hopefully. But yeah, that's my little run through really of the Rochdale season just finished. Just a side note, whilst everyone is listening as well, the thoughts of everybody at the podcast are with Joey Thompson, obviously going through a difficult period in his life yet again, cancer for the third time. We all love Joey Thompson. He's played for Rochdale multiple times. He's played for Tranmere Rovers, Deck's team, that Jimmy's team also as well. So everyone's got a lot of time. He's just a lovely bloke, Joe Thompson. So we're all thinking of him, hoping that he pulls through. Cracking lad, really. There's going to be a Goals for Cure charity match, Joey Thompson charity match, on Saturday, the 11th of May at Spotland, the Crown Oil Arena, which will be a Joey Thompson 11 versus a Celebrity 11, which I think they did a couple of years ago as well. So yes, it's the charity game is it's a great idea, really. It's fantastic. I went a couple of years ago with my dad, possibly 2019. It was a good day out, really. I know it's for a good cause for Joey. He's the charity that they're hoping to raise money for. It's fantastic. We had a good night out. Not a good night out. Sorry, good day out even with my dad. The sun were out, and we all had a good day. And in some respects, football isn't the story here. It's it's Joey Thompson, and it's. We're all pulling for him, really. So, yeah, thank you all for listening to this little 12-minute or so bulletin. If you could all follow us on Twitter. We still call it Twitter. I'm not calling it X. Instagram, we post a few things on there. We're on Facebook. We've got a YouTube channel as well, which just basically posts our previous episodes from the last nearly 3.5 years. So if you ever want to be a guest on the podcast, just ping one of us a message. We'll gladly have you on. We're hoping to be back for a full featured episode with a few special guests for a somewhat end of season episode, you could call it. So if you can keep your eyes out for that one as well. And thank you very much for listening. Take care. Bye. And whether you're being promoted, whether you're being relegated, or whether you've had a 5-match ban, remember, it is only a game. Thank you.
It's Only a Game podcast with hosts Jimmy, Greg, Deck and Matt. Sat in the main stand, bringing football topics with occasional guests. Download, subscribe and stream for a hat-trick of support. Tap in ratings and reviews on your podcast platform. Stay on side with our YouTube channel and social media pages.